is today and must remain a place where Jews pray at the Western Wall, where Christians walk the stations of the cross, and where Muslims worship at Al-Aqsa Mosque.
There's a place on Earth where power doesn't matter. This is the temple. Even Donald Trump. He's flown aboard Air Force One, stayed in presidential palaces, and walked through the most secure compounds on Earth. But when his team requested access to this temple, the answer wasn't just no, it was silent. And it doesn't care who you are unless you already control the system behind the scenes. But to understand how a sitting US president could be denied access to a piece of land, we need to look at this temple. No secret island, no coded invite list, no VIP pass, just stone, just silence, and 10,000 years of prayer woven into the ground. This is the Temple Mount, in the heart of Jerusalem, the most contested, most protected, most sacred 35 acres ever known. Jews believe God once dwelled here in the Holy of Holies. Muslims believe the Prophet Muhammad ascended to heaven from this very rock. Christians believe Jesus walked its courtyards and taught beneath its walls. 3 religions, 2,000 years of conflict, one hill that decides what is allowed and what is not. Here, shovels are forbidden. Here, politics can spark war. Here, even archaeology is considered a threat, which is why, for centuries, the secrets beneath this sacred platform remained undisturbed and unknown until now. Because today, technology has done what humans are forbidden to do. AI has scanned the earth beneath the Temple Mount, a digital excavation deeper than any shovel has ever dared to dig, and what it uncovered left scientists pale, speechless, and terrified to speak publicly. Hidden chambers, man-made tunnels, a sealed room carved perfectly into bedrock, and inside, artifacts that may be tied directly to Solomon's temple and the Holy of Holies itself. If you're ready to see what the world's most sacred ground has been hiding, hit subscribe to Luxrish, because tonight we go beneath a hill that could change history and faith forever. Beneath the golden dome of the rock, beneath the smooth stones polished by millions of footsteps, there lies a rule older than modern nations. Do not dig. Not one shovel, not one core sample, not one stone lifted from its place, because the Temple Mount is not just geography, it is identity. For Jews, this is the heart of creation, the place where Solomon built the first temple, where God's presence was believed to rest in the Holy of Holies. For Muslims, it is Haram al-Sharif, the noble sanctuary where the Prophet Muhammad ascended to heaven. And for Christians, it is the ground Jesus walked. 3 faiths, 1 mountain, infinite sensitivity. A single wrong move here, a single rumor of unauthorized excavation has the power to ignite global conflict. That's why Israel, even after winning control in 1967, did not take ownership of what lies beneath. Instead, the Islamic Waqf controls the religious site. They decide what happens above the ground and what never happens below it, because the moment someone discovers something that supports one religion's claim, every other religion feels threatened. In truth, no other piece of land is this protected by faith, this defended by politics, or this dangerous to question. For decades, archaeologists could only stare at the ground they were forbidden to touch. Every inch of the Temple Mount is a locked vault of human history and a bomb of modern tension, which is why for years the world accepted a painful mystery. We may never know what lies beneath until technology found a loophole. For decades, the Temple Mount stayed silent, protected, untouched, off limits. But in the late 1990s, that silence broke by accident. During unauthorized construction on the Holy Hill, 300 truckloads of sacred soil were dug up and dumped like garbage into the Kidron Valley. No archaeologists on site, no documentation, no permission. It was, to experts, the greatest loss of ancient history in modern times. Those trucks didn't carry dirt. They carried answers. Answers about the first temple, the second temple, the worshippers, the wars, the lives and moments buried deeper than memory. At first, scholars wept, because once history is mixed, crushed, and thrown away, how do you ever put it back together again? But a few refused to give up. Instead of digging into forbidden ground, they gathered the discarded soil and started sifting shifting. Children on school trips, grandparents volunteering, tourists who came to see history and accidentally held it in their hands. Piece by piece, artifact by artifact, the Temple Mount began to speak. A bronze incense shovel used by ancient priests, pottery from the era of King Solomon, coins stamped with biblical names, fragments of clay seals used by Israel's priestly families. More than 500,000 artifacts recovered, not from excavation, but from trash. It was the single greatest archaeological rescue mission Jerusalem had ever seen. And yet, everyone working on that soil knew a painful truth. If this is what they found in what was thrown away, what's still hidden beneath the mount itself? What secrets survived untouched, sealed in darkness, waiting for someone to look without digging? That's when science stepped in. For 150 years, the Temple Mount was the one place science couldn't reach. No digs, no drills, no scans allowed near the holy structures. But in 21, that changed. Archaeologists got permission to use technology that doesn't disturb a single stone. Ground-penetrating radar, ultra-high-resolution thermal imaging, artificial intelligence to decode underground shapes. It was the first contactless excavation in history, an X-ray of the most sacred hill on Earth. The AI began stitching radar scans together like puzzle pieces, each layer revealing new chambers, forgotten walls, lost passageways. The deeper the scans went, the stranger the shapes became. Straight lines below natural rock, right angles, impossible in nature. Perfect chambers sealed deep underground, rooms no one had seen since biblical times. One archaeologist said, "It was like the mountain was breathing secrets for the first time. At first, they thought they were seeing drainage tunnels, but then the computer model sharpened, and the room outlines became circular, perfectly carved, aligned precisely with the ancient temple layout described in scripture. Suddenly, this wasn't just archaeology anymore. This was confirmation. Confirmation that the Temple Mount wasn't just a legend of faith, but a masterpiece of engineering built for rituals we still barely understand." And then the AI identified a sealed entrance, one door, one path, leading to a chamber untouched for nearly 3,000 years. What they found in that chamber left scientists pale and speechless, because inside was an object ancient texts describe with fear, and holiness a symbol tied to the first temple itself. If this chamber lies beneath the Temple Mount, why hasn't the world rushed to unveil it? Because a single crack in that sealed doorway could ignite the most dangerous conflict of our time. Here's the truth the public rarely hears. The Temple Mount is controlled by three powers who agree on almost nothing except this: no one touches the ground, no one digs, no one enters. Why? Because unlocking that chamber could rewrite religion, proving one faith's history over another, ownership, shifting legal control of Jerusalem prophecy, triggering beliefs about the end of days, the Islamic Waqf, guardians of the Mount, fear that proof of the first temple could become a political weapon used to claim the site entirely for Israel. Jewish religious leaders fear stepping onto forbidden holy ground where the presence of God once rested. World governments fear what happens when billions of people see their sacred beliefs turned into physical evidence. It's not archaeology, it's a fuse. One Israeli official admitted privately, "The first person who touches that chamber may start a war nobody can stop." Even proposing controlled excavation was rejected instantly. Requests were buried, data encrypted, the discovery classified quietly. But some scholars argue the chamber won't wait forever. Jerusalem sits on a fragile fault line. Earthquakes have shaken this hill before. Another one could expose the entrance live on the world's cameras. Imagine that. The door cracks open, ashes spill forward, ancient carvings glow in the dust, and suddenly millions rush toward the mount, each claiming, "This is ours. This proves everything." The holiest square of Earth would become the most dangerous. So today, science waits, faith watches, politics holds its breath. The chamber remains sealed, not because the world can't open it, but because the world isn't ready for the truth. What happens when the world sees what's under the mount for thousands of years? People of faith believed the Holy of Holies existed. They believed it without ever seeing it. Now, for the first time in history, science has found something that could turn belief into evidence, and that possibility is terrifying. For Judaism, the Holy of Holies is the heart of prophecy. According to sacred tradition, when the first temple is proven beyond debate, it signals the beginning of the final final restoration of Israel. A moment long prayed for, but also one that demands the third temple be built, and the entire world knows where that temple must stand. Right on the mount, where the Dome of the Rock stands today. For millions, that's prophecy fulfilled. For others, it's a declaration of war. For Islam, the Mount, Haram al-Sharif, is the very place from which Prophet Muhammad ascended to heaven. To prove another religion's most sacred structure lies beneath it. That's not just archaeology. That is a direct challenge to spiritual identity for nearly 2 billion people. For Christianity, this discovery hits the Book of Revelation. Many believe a proven temple site triggers the end times timeline, the rebuilding of the temple, the return of the Messiah, the final confrontation in Jerusalem, the real threat. The sealed chamber doesn't belong to just religion. It belongs to all three. Its existence forces the question, who has the right to truth? Whose prophecy becomes reality? Whose God is proven right? When power meets a higher permission, a man who sat in the Oval Office, a man who carried nuclear codes, a man who traveled the world with an army at his back. Yet even he was told, you cannot enter the Temple Mount, not denied by politicians, not vetoed by security, denied by faith. Trump, according to private diplomatic sources, during his presidency, Donald Trump expressed interest in entering areas deep beneath the Temple Mount. It wasn't simply a tour request. He wanted answers. He wanted to see history with his own eyes. He wanted to walk where only the highest priests once stood. But the response was immediate, because power means nothing when standing at the gate of the divine. The ultimate irony, Trump has visited the most restricted places on Earth, the Situation Room, Area 51 nuclear bunkers. But the holiest chamber in human history? A president must wait outside. The Temple Mount does not bow to earthly leaders. It bows only to the God it serves. And that's why this story isn't over. The chamber remains sealed. The truth remains hidden. And the world holds its breath. One day the door may open. When it does, history will change in minutes. And when that moment comes, Luxrish will be right here to tell you the truth. If you are fascinated by forbidden places, secret discoveries, and the hidden history that powerful people don't want you to know, subscribe to Luxrish and hit the bell icon, because our next investigation is already underway. And trust me, you won't believe what we're uncovering next.